We are back after a couple of days off, and we are seeing some really nice weather in much of the eastern U.S. With dry air that's funneled all the way down into the deep south. There's a cold front to the west, and we'll probably have to deal with that, but not until after we have a decent weekend. And that's a big plus. And we're a big plus here too on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. If you shop on Amazon, use our referral link to get you there and do your shopping. You don't have to buy anything special or additional. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of your own pocket. And it really helps us out because this way we can run the entire podcast without commercial interruption. So we appreciate it very much, those of you who have done your shopping via our referral link on Amazon. Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet, Joe Rayo. The link for this tonight is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the description to this podcast. It'll make a wonderful Christmas present or holiday present for the weather freak in your life. Use a coupon code to save you some money, right, Joe?
Well, that coupon code is autumn 2025, and yes, if you use it, you can get 10% off anything that is being sold by Tempest, including a weather station. So if you've not gotten the weather station, you've already heard many times here on the Joe and Joe Show how wonderful it is because our own Joe Chiaffi has one, so why not get one for your own?
And they have wall monitors now. If you want a weather station with where you can put up a wall monitor because this runs off your mobile device, they have those available too. So just wanted to pass that along. So we're kind of sandwiched in between a storm that's out in the Atlantic, east of Newfoundland, funneling down cool, dry air into the eastern part of the United States, and it isn't really moving very much. In fact, I can show you this all too well. I'll bring up the surface map, and we can take a look, and you'll see it here. We've got a nice high over Lake Huron, actually 3 high centers being analyzed, and you go way out east of Newfoundland, and well, it's out there in the Atlantic, and it's just holding. So the high can't go out until that thing moves, which it eventually will. And then we've got a cold front with low pressure up in North Dakota, and that's going to be coming. But it's going to take a while for this high to play through, and I think we're going to be fine right through for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. I think the weather should be fine right through Sunday evening.
I would agree with you 100%. I think we will have a shot at some showers with the next weather front Sunday night into at least part of Monday. And then, interestingly, Joe, you would hope that after the front moves through, we go back into a nice, dry, clear air mass. But it looks like the weather is going to be somewhat unstable. So instability will lead to perhaps a shower on Tuesday, maybe on Wednesday, some cloudiness as well. So we're not going to clear away cleanly, if you will, early next week. We'll still have to deal with some scattered precipitation, but in all, there's no big storm that is looming in the immediate future. And as you just pointed out, it looks like we've got ourselves a pretty nice weekend ahead of us.
Meanwhile, here in the deep south, a beautiful day. I mean, just an absolutely beautiful day. Here in North Georgia, where I am, the low was 41. The high, I think, was 73 at my house, although it did get into the 80s in Atlanta and points south. But lots of 70s across the Carolinas and Virginia. Still on the warmish side, though, through the Gulf states, and 90s are still popping up in some spots in Mississippi and southern Alabama, and near 90 down in Louisiana, and not overly warm in Florida because they have a little bit of an onshore flow. And then you see the weather system out to the west. You got one low in eastern Colorado. You got another one up in North Dakota with a cold front with that, and that's going to push eastward. We haven't seen much in the way of severe weather But it looks like there might be a bit of a severe weather outbreak on Saturday from southern Missouri down into northern Louisiana, northeast Texas, and eventually into the Ohio Valley. I actually mentioned, Joe, for Sunday night into Monday morning with this cold front. Uh, the Europeans got a pretty aggressive look to it. I actually even mentioned that there could be a rumble or two of thunder when that goes by.
I think you're right. It could very well happen that we could have a little bit of convection associated with that weather front. Then the front moves on through first thing on Monday morning, and as I said, after that, we're going to have to put up with a couple of days of instability. So that's why we can't say that it's going to, fully clear out. We're going to have lingering clouds and a few widely scattered showers around Monday, Tuesday, and even I think onto to Wednesday as well. Nothing heavy, nothing steady, nothing significant, but just nuisance type of precipitation, I guess you could say, for the early part of next week.
Welcome to everybody tonight on the chat board, and those of you who are lurking in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We had a bit of a shift in schedule this week because we've been on a bunch of days in a row with the coastal storm last weekend, but no such problem this weekend. Our normal schedule here is Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And Fridays and Saturdays are usually off days, and they're going to be off days again going into this weekend. So after tonight, we'll be back Sunday night at 7:35. Kind of filling in the blanks in the Northeast where some areas have already had their first frost. So those are one and done type things. They only go up for the first time it happens, and then after that, you're on your own. If your plants die, it's your own fault. But we do have some frost advisories up in the Hudson Valley, mainly east of the Hudson River from Dutchess County northward, and then a couple of counties further north in upstate New York with some freeze warnings, also northwest Connecticut, parts of south central Pennsylvania, down into northern Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, and western Pennsylvania. Same in the west, we're seeing a few areas with freeze warnings up, and also some winter weather advisories, if I'm reading this correctly. I think that's the color. No, I'm take that back. Those are frost advisories up for areas in Colorado north and east, and also to the south and east of Denver. Otherwise, it's not really all that busy tonight. As we check out the satellite loop, many more states are clear than they are cloudy. I mean, look at the east. Just absolutely cloud-free conditions today for from New York State and western New England all the way down to Florida, and you can see the uh, clouds that are getting lifted back westward from off the ocean, just sort of spinning back. The old upper there's an upper trough here, an upper low, sitting south of Nova Scotia, and it's thrown back some clouds and even a little bit of rain in down East Maine. The next weather system, Mr. Rayo, kicking off some showers from Nebraska to Minnesota, and also back further west than that. Um, kind of, I'm a little sort of confused with respect to the fact that the front's going to try to come through, but it's one of these deals where the low center goes over the Great Lakes and then moves almost northward into Ontario. And then when the front approaches, you might get a second wave that develops on the frontal boundary. And that seems to be what some of the models are using to energize some of the shower and thunderstorm activity that could possibly happen Sunday night into Monday morning.
Right, a triple point uh, storm system evolving on the place where the cold and warm and occluded front all meet, and yeah, that tends to happen. That you get a little bit of convection, and it could very well happen, late this weekend. And I applaud you for mentioning. I just mentioned chance of showers on Sunday night on my Facebook forecast, but I wouldn't be surprised either if we had a rumble or two of thunder develop there.
You can see the showers at down East Maine still there. They were more numerous this morning. covering half the eastern half of the state, but they are slowly diminishing. And then you see some showers moving through northern Wisconsin, a line of showers and probably a rumble or two of thunder from southwest Minnesota down into Nebraska. There's even some heavier storms, a second line behind that in Nebraska and northwest Kansas. And then we've got the backside precip going on with some rain in eastern Montana and western North Dakota. The Storm Prediction Center tonight has a small marginal risk zone in northwest Kansas to southwest Nebraska, and the radar kind of bears that out. And then as we move to tomorrow, uh, if it decides to move to tomorrow, let's see. Here we go. Oklahoma to East Kansas and western Missouri under a marginal risk for severe weather, but they're not indicating any uh, minimal tornado risk. And then on day three, and this is where it starts to get a little busier, a little bit of Gulf moisture opens up. Come on, SPC. There you go. Day three. And they've been carrying this on the long range. They started from day six to show this, so they seem pretty confident with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up seeing an enhanced risk getting added to this, sitting in southern Missouri, southern Illinois, western parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi, all of Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, and northern Louisiana. So that's the weather front that's going to approach for Sunday night into Monday. WPC Joe is giving a half to 3/4 of an inch from central New Jersey northward and up to a few inches across New Hampshire and Maine. Now, that's got to be good news for them because uh, that and other parts of northern New England still remain. And maybe you could check this out. We'll check this. Maybe you could bring up the drought monitor a bit later on and take a look at this. But this area here has been
Right.
really problematic with drought conditions.
Right. I did get a look at the updated map a little while ago that updates on Thursday, and it looks like a
You want
good
to do it
chunk
now?
of
You,
central New England.
you
Yeah,
want?
why
Yeah,
not?
go ahead. Put it
Yeah,
up now.
just give me the share capability, and I'll be happy to bring it up.
I did. I'm one step ahead of you.
Okay, so here we go, and you'll see the Northeast here, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. That central and portions of northern New England, most notably northern sections, the northern half of Vermont, the northern half of New Hampshire, and the south central portion of Maine are in the D3 zone. That is extreme drought. And just to the south, they have severe drought across the rest of those states. Here in New York State, I'm just going to highlight New York now for this one moment here. You can see that most areas of New York State are in some sort of a dry or droughty type of situation. I would say about 40% of the state is in the D0 or the abnormally dry sector. Then we have places in upstate New York that are either in moderate or severe drought, especially up near the Canadian border and across the western sections of New York State. Down here, where we happen to be in the tri state area, we have Nassau County in abnormally dry conditions, and then you have moderate drought for Suffolk County. In the Hudson Valley, the lower Hudson Valley, much of the lower Hudson Valley is in the moderate drought area or region. There's some parts of Westchester County and northern sections of Orange County that are merely abnormally dry. And if we take a look at our friends over in New Jersey, let's take a look at Jersey right now, and you will see that, and this is interesting because if you remember, there was a time this past spring where much of central and southern New Jersey were in extreme drought to even in a few sporadic cases, exceptional drought. Well, guess what? Those places are now not seeing any drought at all, and inland areas of central and southern New Jersey are only at abnormally dry. It's the northern end of the state, northern half of New Jersey, that's experiencing either moderate or even severe drought, especially in the northwest areas, up across especially Sussex County, excuse me, and Passaic, northern sections of Morris County, northern sections of Warren County. That's where the severe drought happens to be in New Jersey. But again, all the way through here, and it would not be surprising, of course, because these people, for example, like Seaside Heights and Tom's River and points south down to Atlantic City, have seen their fair share of wetness over the last few weeks. And so it's not a surprise that these are the areas that are in white with no drought problems to speak of. But again, as you go to the north, up across New York State, and especially so into parts of New England, you have anywhere from severe to extreme drought situation. Also down in West Virginia, we don't want to forget those few of you who might be tuned in West Virginia, in the panhandle of West Virginia, in Marshall County, it's extreme drought. Also extreme drought in parts of Braxton County, Webster County, northern end of Nicholas County, eastern end of Clay County, and up across this part of West Virginia, Grant County and Hampshire County, there is extreme drought being indicated, and that's surrounded, of course, by severe drought and moderate drought, and again, just some areas of abnormally dry conditions. Western part of West Virginia is out in the clear as of this time. If we take a look at the rest of the nation, you could see that
Check my
there are
state.
drought
Check my
problems
state.
indicated. Yeah, just you could see in portions of northern Ohio, northern sections of Illinois and Indiana, portions of Missouri, down south into parts of Alabama and the panhandle of Florida, also southern sections of Texas, Arizona, sliver of New Mexico, up to Wyoming and into portions of Montana and Idaho and Washington state. We have areas that are right now in, excuse me, extreme drought. But the rest of the country, I'd say about 40% of the country, Joe, no drought problems to speak of at this moment in time.
Check Georgia for a moment. You bring Georgia up. And by the way, Scott
Georgia,
Briller, thank you for hitting
Georgia.
super chat and asking for the drought map. Most appreciated.
Here's Georgia, Joe. You're up here, aren't you, in this area?
Yeah, I'm in the county.
What county are you?
Not the next one. Go one more. Go one more to the left. The next
Union
one.
County?
I'm in Union County.
Yeah, okay, Union County. According to this map, you're out of a drought. You don't have any drought problems to speak
Yeah,
of.
we had it's very interesting because Atlanta is down, about 100 miles southwest of me. They have not had a. It's been, I think I heard the guy say yesterday, 45 or 46 days since the last time they had a half an inch of rain there. And they tend to get into some of the thunderstorm activity a little bit more than I do. But in the meantime, my part of the state has actually, had a fair amount of rain during the month of September into October. So yeah, we're one of three counties that are not in a drought, and then the southern part of the state, it's a different story. And even around Atlanta, it's they're in that, what is that brownish, the light brown area? What is that?
Oh, here?
No, no.
Yeah,
Where
that's
about where
moderate
Atlanta
drought.
is would be one of those dry, yeah, one of those counties there. Fulton, Cobb County. Um, so what is that? What is that?
That's Walton County here.
Go up, go down, go a little more southwest. You see Cobb
That's
County or
Newton County.
Cobb County and Fulton County,
Jasper,
Jasper.
Butts,
Yeah, you're in the la- you know
Emory.
you're in and around the Atlanta metro area. So they're either abnormally dry, or what comes after abnormally dry? Moderate drought?
That would be moderate drought, yes.
Okay. So that's a moderate drought for the great state of Georgia. And by the way, when we check out, go back to WPC with respect to the rainfall, which I got that map up here now. Uh, you'll notice that uh, less than a quarter, at most a quarter of an inch in the northern part of the state over the next 7 days, but most of the southeast, very little to no precip, even down through much of Florida. Meanwhile, in the Ohio Valley and in the Great Lakes, we're looking at inch and a half to some places as much as 2.5 to 3 inches, going all the way up through Michigan and beyond. And onto the Canada side, a few streaks of a half to 3 quarters in part. And this, what you see in Kansas, in South Dakota, down into northwest Kansas. Part of that is the thunderstorm activity that you're seeing right now. Uh, you see some areas in the northern Rockies and in the Pacific Northwest, but the whole Southwest is bone dry. So, here's our situation right now where we have the offshore storm way out to the east and just, you know, taking forever to get out of the way, which keeps things chilly tonight, chilly tomorrow, upper 50s and low 60s. And then tomorrow night probably won't be as chilly. The high moves to the coast. We start to get into more of a southwest flow. That should warm temperatures back up into the low and mid 60s on Saturday. And then here comes this low, and you can see the severe weather that develops in Missouri, Arkansas, and then pushes eastward into Illinois and Indiana. Thunderstorms that extend down into Louisiana. That starts to push eastward. But this is Sunday morning. There's nothing. It's not, usually you look to, if it was raining at Pittsburgh, 8 or 9 hours later, the rain will be at the coast. But it's not even out of central Ohio yet. So when we get to Sunday evening, only in the western half of Pennsylvania do we have measurable precip. And there's a low center. And this is where the other models, some of the models are doing this and some of them aren't. The Europeans got this more aggressive look where it's got this low that forms in southwest PA and then starts to swing eastward, but it takes virtually the whole night for it to go by. And it's got this arm of showers and storms as the front whips up from the southwest and pushes through. Might get a little breezy later Sunday night into Monday before the front passes. And you're right about the fact that the pattern beyond this is going to be somewhat unstable because there's another upper trough and another cold front that's coming southward on Tuesday, and you see it there with some showers in Ohio. And yeah, it's a good idea to put in the chance for some showers late Tuesday and maybe again on Wednesday. But it looks like the second half of next week into next Saturday, it's going to be on the coolish side. That 540 thickness is close by virtually for the entire second half of next week.
Well, you may very well be right. Um, it's certainly a pattern that in recent years we've seen as we've gone through the fall months. Abnormally warm or abnormally mild. But this particular autumn season, we have been playing with rather coolish outbreaks, and I think, for example, I think the growing season officially has come to an end in parts of the lower Hudson Valley. I know they have a frost advisory in portions of I think Ulster County and Sullivan County, Dutchess County, but tonight is not going to be quite as chilly or as cold as what we had last week. Last week here on my thermometer, we got down to 34. I'm not expecting it to get much lower than 37 or 38 locally here overnight tonight. But it is going to be it's going to be a clear night and a chilly one. No question about that.
Down the road, parts of the west may wind up seeing snow as we get toward the last day, the last few days of the month of October. The European at least wants to develop some kind of low, fairly deep one in North Dakota. And it's got some snows up in the northern Rockies. It's not a clean snowfall in the sense that you see there's also patches of rain. So it's going to be one of these deals where it's like mountain snows and valley rains. And then the low, I mean, who knows if that's really correct to have a deep low like that going through the Dakotas. but it does speak to the kind of pattern that we're in, where we're getting going to be getting weather fronts coming through, two weather fronts back to back, and then just staying kind of coolish in the east. And as far as the tropics are concerned, we do actually have Lorenzo came and went very quickly. So the Hurricane Center highlighting a disturbance at about 10:40 that's taking it straight west, and they don't anticipate any development until it gets maybe into the central portion of the Caribbean Sea by the middle of next week. So we got a long ways to go before we get to that particular point. And before we go to Briller Jeopardy, Mr. Rayo, would you address? I saw you mentioned this today on a post, because I've seen it all over the place. That basically, outer space is going crazy, and we're getting all these, comets and things, and alien ships, and all the rest of it. So, can you just kind of explain what is going on with respect to this? Because I mean, anytime I see this sort of stuff, I'm thinking, you know, uh, they are right. They're writing it for clicks.
It's clickbait city. That's what I'm talking about. They're making it sound like this is going to be an amazing spectacle in our skies. We have three comets that are in our sky right now. There are a couple of them in the morning sky. There's one in the evening sky. That comet's name is Comet Lemon because it was discovered from Mount Lemon in Arizona. But the problem is, Joe, is that these are comets that are going to be only visible. Well, the lemon is going to be dimly visible to the eye if you know exactly where to look, and if you have nice dark skies, which I'm sorry to say about 80% to 90% of the American population does not have dark skies. You have light pollution. If you want to see this comet with your unaided eye, you're going to need to have a nice dark backdrop, one that does not have any nearby bright lights to impede your view. And even if you were able to see it, any of these comets, any of these three that are being played up by the various news sources, you're not going to be impressed. If you see it in binoculars or a small telescope, you're just going to see fuzz balls, diffuse balls of light. The tails that are so impressive in photographs are only going to come out in long exposure photographs. These are gas tails. Gas primarily is faint blue. The comets that put on spectacular displays, like Hale Bopp, for example, or even the great Halley's Comet, those comets throw off a tremendous amount of dust. Dust can reflect a lot of light. Dust is the kind of tail that produces the impression that, oh my goodness, look at that thing. Those are beautiful comets. But these comets that are being played up on the internet are little balls of gas, and the tails are wispy, faint things that, again, are not very impressive and not very interesting. So I shake my head. I sometimes when I see this, as one who writes columns for Space.com and other news sources, when I look at things like this, I think of my grandfather, my Italian grandfather, who would utter the following words: "Uffa."
Yeah,
You see something like this, and he said, "Oh, brilliant, spectacular
right.
display,
And
starry
it's
display,"
and it's
and
just
that's what I
basically
think. I say,
and
"Uffa."
yeah, it's just basically an eye roll, pretty much.
And there's also a meteor shower, the Orionid shower, which is coming our way next week. It appears the meteors seem to shoot from the bright star Betelgeuse in the constellation of Orion. You have to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to get the prime view of the Orionids. What makes the Orionids interesting is I mentioned Halley's Comet. These pieces of debris that you see streaking across the sky were shed by Halley's Comet. Many, many times Halley's Comet has gone around the sun. Comets are cosmic litter bugs. They deposit along their paths, along their orbits, little bits and pieces, size of pebbles and sand grains. When the Earth rams through these, you see them as shooting stars, streaks of light in the sky. So if you go out next week in the early morning hours, 3, 4, 5 a.m., and you see a shooting star, the likelihood is you've just seen a piece of Halley's Comet from the Orionid meteor shower. But the Orionid meteor shower is a very modest display, 10 to 20 per hour, again in a very dark environment. If you're out, you have a nice dark view of the sky, you'll see 10 to 20. If you're in a city or even a suburb, you're not going to see very much because, again, the meteors are not very bright. They're usually somewhat faint. You want to see a meteor shower? There are two worth looking for. The one in August, the Perseid meteor shower, or the one in December coming up, the Geminid shower. But the problem with the Geminids is that, and I've watched the Geminids for many, many, many years. You go outside for a Geminid watch, you better bundle up because usually on the nights when you're looking for meteors in December, it can be very, very cold and you're not outside for very long if you're not bundled up properly. So that's the meteor shower you should be looking for in December. Again, I don't know why they promote the Orionids as if it's going to be the be all and end all of meteor showers, but again, Joe, we live in a very interesting time. These online services, they make their bread and butter by the number of eyes that they can attract, and so they do just that. And in fact, when I write for space.com and I provide them with a headline with my stories, they never use my headlines
Yeah,
because
they won't.
I usually use a headline which tells you what's going to happen. But
Right,
I'll say Orion and meteors coming up next week. They'll take that down and they'll put in its place beautiful meteor shower
right.
coming next week. Don't
Yeah.
miss it, And I just shake my head. But you know what? I get the same
You,
amount of money,
you get
whatever
right.
headline they
I
put up
always
there.
said and I always said that at work when I used to cut my time, and I would say, look, my paycheck's exactly the same whether I do 3 minutes or 30 seconds, so it really doesn't matter to me. You have Briller Jeopardy.
Yep.
Okay, let's do this. By the
Do I
way,
have Thriller Jeopardy?
what's that? I don't have it. I don't think I
I
do.
said, do I have it? I will look. I will look.
Okay, let me
It's
see
been
if
so long.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I might have one that he sent.
It's been a while since we did.
Let me check.
Let's see. Now you may have it,
I
Joe, because
have
I
it.
see the bonus question here with
I
Sault Ste. Marie.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have it. Okay.
Okay.
So, uh, by the way, how many likes do we have today?
I'm gonna have to redo this
Oh,
here.
that's all
Hang
right. Well,
on.
Whatever. If any, I hope
We were on
everybody's
a winning streak, right? We had like five. We had like
yeah. Well,
five straight shows with 100 likes or more. 56.
okay. Well, anyway, if you like the show tonight, folks,
56.
hit the like button. We appreciate it when you hit the like button. All right, so here we go. So we're back to normal average highs for October for the following cities. So we're going to start with Buffalo. Buffalo, Joe.
Highs in, highs in October.
Hmm.
Okay, in Buffalo. I will say 58.
That is a very good guess. And Christinapedia at 61 is an even better guess. But lo and behold, Joe, Tom Contino gets it with Maggie P. and Patrick Darcy and Adam Lowe, 60. 60 for Buffalo. And Frank Scalera. Next we have is Charlotte,
Okay,
North Carolina. Charlotte or Charlotte. Charlotte.
Charlotte. Charlotte. Well, that's difficult because they're elevated, so they could have a temperature not too different from places in the northeastern part of the country. I think. I'll say 64.
Yeah, that's a bit low. Christinapedia, you're missing it again by one with 72. Rich Rothmansky gets it though, 73, along with CWTR Shark, 73 for Charlotte. They're elevated, but they're also like in a valley. So anyway, Chicago,
Okay,
and they're also a big metro area. Chicago, Chicago, Chicago.
Chicago. I'll say 60. I'll say 62.
Good guess, a little low. Harold Olson and Adam Lowe getting it with 64. 64 for Chicago. Dallas. Dallas.
Well, I don't think we're gonna ring the bell for the. I don't think we're gonna hit the bell for 100 likes like
Right.
a mellow.
But ring the
For
bell for
those people who've been
everybody
hitting
getting
the
it fit.
Thriller Jeopardy.
Dallas, Texas.
Yes. And how about Dallas? You said
Uh,
Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas.
yes.
I'll say 70. I'll say 74.
A bit low. Rich Rothmansky close at 81, but Patrick Darcy nailing it at 80. 80. And Detroit to finish off the five. Detroit.
How about 60? How about 60 degrees?
Close, a little low with 60 degrees. Harold Olson, you're high at 66. Lou Arizio, you're knocking on the door at 61. Frank R. gets it, 62, Joe, 62. And finally, the bonus tonight is International Falls. International
Oh,
Falls.
well, how about 52 for them?
What did you say? What did you say?
52.
52. Well, after 5 tries, you nailed one on the nose. 52, Joe. Ring the bell for yourself and for
Yay!
everybody on the chat
Dingy,
board.
dingy, dingy.
All right, so we've got nice weather through Sunday before
Oh,
we get into.
one other thing I should mention, Joe,
Yes.
is that today was the day that that NOAA came out with their wintertime prediction, and I found this most interesting.
Oh, do you have
In
the
other
map?
years, in fact, every year up until today, yeah,
Do you have?
I have it, but it comes courtesy. Well, let me bring it up here.
All right, I'll put you. Well, you're already on the
Hang
screen, so
on
you can go
for
ahead and do that.
one momento. Going to back to the Climate Prediction Center and NOAA releasing their outlook for the winter season. Excuse me. Now, what I find interesting here is that normally they would put this out in the form of kind of like a major news release, a major press release, and they would be very, very specific and explain specifics of the maps, both the seasonal temperature outlook and also the precipitation outlook. But what I'm showing you right now really is nothing more than what you could get from the Climate Prediction Center. There's no news release, there's no explanation, there's nothing. And I suppose that is because of the shutdown.
That could
Since I
be.
guess they have a bare minimum number of people working, or they just said, we're not getting paid. The heck with it. We'll just give them. We'll do the bare minimum and show the maps and let others, interpret them as they will. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Here's the seasonal temperature outlook for meteorological winter, December, January, and February. It shows that in our area here in the New York metropolitan area, we are in the above normal, albeit just inside of the above normal zone. Most of the rest of New England and upstate New York and central and western sections of Pennsylvania are near normal, or if you will, equal chances, flip a coin in the
Right.
white zones. The areas that show below normal temperatures would be across parts of the western Great Lakes and the northern plains, the northern Rockies, and a segment of the Pacific Northwest, most notably northern Idaho and Washington State. Everywhere else to the south, you've got the above normal areas. You've got, I wouldn't say well above normal, but noticeably above normal. Let's see, leaning above normal, something on the order of about 50 to 60% probability for the southern sections of the Florida Peninsula, and also for western Texas, for a good hunk of New Mexico and Arizona. Those are the areas that have the greatest probability for above normal. And look at Alaska. Alaska, you have equal chances across much of the state, above normal, well to the north and west, and down in the southeast, including Juneau, their capital, they have below normal temperatures there. So that's the seasonal temperature outlook. And as far as the seasonal precipitation outlook, we have dry conditions across much of the south up to the mid-Atlantic area. Toss a coin, equal chances in the northeast, including New York, and above normal precipitation for the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the portions of the northern plains, especially so over Montana. I would suppose that since this area also has more than one standard deviation for the probability of cold weather, and now they also have noticeably above normal precipitation. I suppose that if you want to see snow this year, the place to be or the place to go would probably be the northern Rockies, most notably Montana and
Right.
maybe northwestern Wyoming if you want to play it straight. But again, no explanation, no details as to why, and any explanation about La Nina or El Nino, nothing. All it is
I'm
just the
sure
maps.
I'm
And
sure
again, I
that's what
would
they'll
presume
say.
that that has something to
They'll
do
say
with the weather.
they'll say I'm sure they would have said weak La Nina. Here's the map. Have a nice day. I mean, because that's all they ever do anyway. It's not like you're going to get.
Exactly.
You know how I feel about those things. These these seasonal forecasts are just a complete waste of time. But everybody needs to wants to see it. And of course, last year they were horribly wrong for the eastern part, certainly for the eastern two-thirds of the United States, especially the deep south, where because of La Nina it was supposed to be above normal temperatures for the whole winter, and it wasn't anything remotely close to that, especially last January. But I'll
And
leave.
Dave Tolerous, by the way, Dave Tolerous is talking about the fact that yeah, it's a La Nina. We went into a La Nina in October. He said that's not going to last much beyond mid or late December,
Right.
and probably
That,
we'd be in a nada or a neutral
uh,
situation for the
and we've
winter
had winters
overall.
with was
So
it like 20 winter of what 2020 or 2021 or 19 into 20 where it was a non El Nino year, non La Nina, and we wound up with a polar vortex that was wrapped up like a like a tight little ball of yarn up over the Arctic region, and it was warm everywhere. So who the hell knows? At the end of the day, who cares what these forecasts are? Nobody knows what's going to be like until we get there. So there, you've had my never be the humble opinion, and on that note, let us move on and go to wrap up the show, and everybody have a great weekend. And we will see you back on Sunday night at 7:35, just in time to watch this next cold front come through and see what kind of showers and thunderstorms, if any, that we shall get. And Quiet John Joe hits the tip jar tonight, and that caps off what has been a very nice Thursday. Thank you, Quiet John. I'm getting my cabinets for my kitchen tomorrow being
thank you,
delivered
Quiet
tomorrow
John.
morning. So I'm a happy camper, and I can get started on my new kitchen. All right, everybody
I'm a
have
happy camper too.
yes, Brandon Doherty also banging the tip jar before we go. Thank you, Brandon, and everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday. Nighty night.